Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Dave Noodles, and we are on the Type 88 show, the show where we talk to people about how they turn their dreams into reality. And this guy has constantly been checking dreams off his list for a long time, and he's
True
constantly
indeed.
finding ways to help others, always got a hand out, looking to help someone else, always lifting others up, and just one of the most humble dudes I know. So I just want to welcome Squeegie O to the Type 88 show. What's up, man?
Respect, brother Dave. How you doing, man? Respect, respect.
It's a long time coming. We're
But
grateful to
yes,
have you on the show.
shit, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? I know we had linked up a while, like a long, long time ago. It's been a minute, so to actually get in the space to link up with you now, the way we doing it, it's perfect.
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, where did you start? Where did you grow up?
Um, I'm from Minnesota Projects, Staten Island, New York. That's been my background for forever. You know, as I got older, I migrated and moved around, but Minnesota Projects is stomping.
How did your neighborhood have an effect on you? Because I've been to the harbor. There's, I love the food. I love the people.
Definitely. I
How
would
has it
say
affected you?
that I would say growing up the way I grew up, it was awesome because I grew up in the '90s, born in the '80s, but I lived my childhood in the '90s. You know what I'm saying? So a sense of community back then. So you got to learn people, you got to know, your neighbors, your friends, your enemies, everything. Everybody was so close knit in the neighborhood. So it was a big influence on how I move and how I do things and move with certain situations. I wouldn't trade my background and how I grew up for anything because it set me up for the survival of real life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things you learn when you deal with different people and different entities, some good, some bad, but all in all, you get a learning experience out of it. I wouldn't trade none of that, you know?
I totally hear that, man. So you basically grew up in the harbor. You're around
Hmm.
an environment of lots going on. As you said, you could get in trouble.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Community.
definitely, definitely.
There's this variety and just so much culture, right, of where you are.
Definitely, definitely different blends of culture. You know, when you live in public housing, you get a chance to get blessed to meet everybody. You get a chance to meet African families, Asian families, white American families, black American families. I mean, it's mostly predominant black American family, but you get a chance to see the variety of everybody. You know, I had Spanish friends growing up. I had white friends growing up. I had all that. That aspect was pretty good too. I wasn't just boxed in.
No, it's great. I know a lot of people that a lot of the time they're like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna move here because I only want my kids around people like this," or "Oh, I'm gonna bring them to this
Mm-hmm.
school because I don't want them around kids like this." And I always
Right, the
say,
energy, right,
I always tell them,
right, exactly.
"What are you gonna do when they have to live most of their lives?" I
Right.
understand that, of course, you want to keep people safe, and maybe if they feel maybe it's not the right place for whatever reason. But I'm like, you're eventually going to have to meet these kids, are going to eventually have to step out of the home eventually and meet people that are
Exactly.
different, who grew up in different places, who have maybe
Right, man.
less.
That is true. You know, it's a different experience. You meet different varieties of folk that don't really understand, and it's understandable because as human beings, I even deal with that now with my son. I want the best for him to grow up a certain way and get the best of everything, but due to the fact, if you're from the element or if you really understand, regardless of what, it's always going to be a part of you. So you make sure you try to give that energy back, right? everything ain't always peaches and cream. You gotta understand there's struggle behind it. And this might be the struggle. It may not be as bad of a struggle, but things are different. Some people didn't have this, some people didn't have that. A lot of different vibes of shit that you learn and how people live, you know. I'm proud of the way I grew up. I wasn't poor, but being in the projects, you see different stories and shit. There's multiple family, more than one child. Everybody struggling to make their own ends meet, or single mother, one child, two children, still trying to do the best that they do. It's a whole different plethora of different stories you can see and learn and adapt from to give you as a human being a different sense of humbleness and humanity in your heart. See?
Yeah, it's real. And I never question them. Any friends are like, "Oh, I want them to go here because of this." I'm like, "Oh, yo, you work hard. This is your choice. You you could do
Right, right,
whatever
right.
you want, right?" I know a lot of I know a lot of people that grew up in places their parents didn't have a choice. They had to go to
Fact.
the school that was around the block. They had to go play for the basketball team that was at the school and do this. And so it's just like, it's just, life is just this interesting place. And it's just interesting to hear your story.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Cause,
it's very interesting palette.
so here you are many years later.
Mm,
You're now a father.
yeah.
Congrats on that. That's a beautiful
Thank you,
thing.
brother. Thank you. Thank you.
And you just had your firstborn, you and you and your lady, not too long ago.
Well, he's about like a year now, so it's been a wonderful year. A definite learning experience.
So I know you work really hard. What did that do for you when you had your child? When the child was there,
Um,
how did you feel? Because that that's just this whole new thing.
yeah, the adaptation to it wasn't an easy adaptation, but I will say I'm thankful for patience and I'm thankful for my elders because a lot of my elders give good wisdom and good guidance. But there's a lot of times, in the process of getting to this year mark, there was some ups and downs and some hiccups in personal life that, you got to figure out either you're going to shit or get off the pot, But when it comes to the child, you got to make sure that whatever you do is in the best interest of him and his survival. So I would say it definitely changed me more so on the thought process of being more serious with things. I mean, I've always been a serious person, but I like to, dilly dally it around sometimes. But when it comes to him, different sense of, yeah, now I need to be on point with my business. Because if not, I'm going to be slacking. And then slacking can lead to shit on the sleeve of your arm, or the baby's crawling upstairs. And if you don't catch him fast enough, he's going to get up the stairs and you got to worry about him falling. So it's it's an awesome experience, I will say, though, man. Definitely an awesome experience.
That's amazing, man. I'm a firstborn of my
Right,
family, so I know my mom and dad. I was the learning experience for a lot of my siblings.
right, right.
Whether it was coming home at a certain time, punishment,
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
things,
See,
and but it's all good. I'm happy I was able to kind of deal with things and also have younger siblings, which was a blessing. And
yeah. As far as that, now I gotta ask you. Now you growing up with siblings, since you were the older one, like you were the one you were the prototype, but you also was like the hero, right? Because I would know that experience. I'm an only child, so I'm a firstborn only child, so it's different because I pretty much had to fend for self. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
So I had cousins that you educate them on certain things, or you try to put them on the things, but the relation isn't the same as if you actually have people that you live with every day, all day, 24/7. So, how is that experience? I, I'm kind of curious about that world. I see how people move and motivate, but I'm still like, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to leave my son as the only child, though. After being an only child, I'll say that.
It's so weird because when you're going through it all,
Mhm.
you're kind of just life is just happening. You don't even realize it's happening so fast. You just
Right.
think it's gonna go forever, and it's like, oh, I got a little brother. Oh, and he'll be running around dancing. But then I blinked, and it was like, oh snap, he's driving a car now.
You see,
So when I
life gets too fast.
when I was younger, I just thought I was gonna be young for a long time, and
Mhm.
I think everyone like when I was growing up too, everyone had a different schedule pretty often.
Right.
So time even went faster because
Yeah, it feels like that, right?
just to lock in a time with people, it was just like seeing them on the holidays, like that was
Hmm.
almost a guarantee. But
Right.
everything else, it was tricky to kind of find a consistency. Um,
Right. Right.
so growing up, I had a younger sister and I had a younger brother, and me and my brother, we had a huge age gap. He was 7 years younger, so he was almost like not felt like a dad to him, but he was so much younger. I was like 10 running around and he was like a baby. So he had four big people looking out for him.
Hmm.
And I see how that affected how we all are different because of that. Um, when I grew up, I kind of wish I had a bigger brother because I didn't know what was going on.
Right. Right.
I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know if I should talk to my mom about stuff. I was always embarrassed. My dad was working a lot, and he's kind of a tough nut to crack. He doesn't just open up like me talking for hours about stuff. He kind of keeps it light. Hey, how was work? Oh, how was this? Unless you really pull
Like sit
the
down and hold a
layers off,
conversation.
you got to
Okay.
pull stuff out with him. But otherwise, he's quick. He's like Twitter. I'm like a blog, and my dad's like Twitter.
Yo.
But I didn't know. So when I was growing up, I didn't know what I needed. And I kind of was against my mom. She was always scolding me. So she was kind of like,
Right.
I don't want to
Because
say an enemy, but as a young kid, you want to do what you want to do. And then there's the one person telling you no. You
yeah.
kind of build this kind of animosity towards that person because you don't have the freedom that you want.
Right. The relationship kind of gets
Yeah. So I was being disciplined,
disdained.
which,
I could definitely relate to
yeah, I was being disciplined. And I look back and I'm like, oh snap, she probably saved my life. But at the moment, I thought she was
that.
being
True.
the biggest blocker of
Yeah.
me having fun. But then I look
He's
back
just
and
hating on your whole game.
I look back and I see a lot of friends that I grew up with that are not here anymore because they had complete freedom. They had the whole basement and the whole attic and 3 rooms to themselves,
Right.
unlimited funds on grandma's credit card, and they're
Right.
not here.
Mm.
They're
Right.
not,
Right.
and they have kids. Some of these guys, and they're not here to even celebrate their kids' lives. So it was crazy. It just kind of so like if I could look back, I'd be like, damn, like find kind of like a ritual. I would recommend like I would do with my family. Find like a time where you could count on seeing them all the time, like a Sunday
Right.
or like a time where like you could count on each other because like time just goes so fast. And then you're like in your 30s and you're like, oh shit, I haven't seen my
Yeah. This
family
day and age.
in a month. I haven't seen them in 2, and you're like, no, like
God knows how long.
why are we working so hard?
Mm.
But it was cool. It was a good dynamic having a sister because she was like a go-getter. And then my brother was like my pride and joy. Like
Mhm.
I took him around, he did whatever. So it was special, and it's special now. Now seeing them old and older, and they got a home, and
Doing their own thing.
they're
Yeah.
growing up. They're clocking in their jobs. They're like, oh, I'm retire in 10 years or whatever it is.
There you go. I mean, but that's the conversations that you want to have. You know,
Yeah,
that energy. So you at least know everybody's doing good. Everybody's positive aspect of life.
so it was cool. So you were the only child.
Yeah, man. Solo dolo.
Damn, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it had its perks. It had its downs. But I will say, you know, who I am now, it gave me a whole lot of different opportunities in life. Some failed, some actually good, and it made me realize, yo, in this shit, sometimes it really is you are all you have. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't stand your ground and have your guard up, yo, you can get drowned in the ocean with the sharks. Real shit. Definitely a dope learning experience. I wouldn't want to have my son go through that. I definitely had a good time, my fair share of shit in his
Yeah,
life.
yeah. It's good to just have someone around you, cause so you had like cousins.
I had cousins, you know, we used to be on good terms, you know, as kids. I grew up with them, so that was my way of connecting with the world. Plus, I was always an outside kid. My dad loved being outside and being a so-called adventurer. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I've always had different relationships with different people over here to over there. So I was never left out of certain shit. It wasn't really like, you know, I was the only guy. It's just certain shit you would want, like you said, it would have been dope to have an older brother. Or, you know, at one point it would have been dope. Like if I had the brother and sister to teach that information to, oh, they'd be dangerous, man.
Yeah, it's really interesting because my mom growing up, she was always adopting family members. And I
Mhm.
always looked at it was like, oh, well, they're not our real family members. And if it finally hit me like recently,
Oh wow.
it finally like the
No, those were
val
your real family members, bro.
but that was the thing, my attitude at that time, because I told you I was kind of had this animosity because she was always kind of telling me what to do, and so I didn't take the gems that she was sharing as gems. She was like, oh,
Mm.
this is mommy too. This is Aunt Fanny. And I would always be like, oh, well, they're not our, I would be kind of bitter. I'd be like, oh, they're not our real family. But they were amazing people. But now it's clicking
Yeah,
30 something years later, and I'm like, wait a minute. That was one of the most best pieces of advice ever, because you could just adopt anyone into your life and treat them with the love that you always
you
wish you
were
had. Yeah,
right. Say love and respect, you know. And you don't need paperwork for it either. It's just having that genuine love and respect, and you know, y'all can have that connection and that loyalty with each other. You know, some of the best people I've ever met in life, I never had a relation with. You know,
yeah.
but it was just the fact of the energy clicked so well, everything worked so well. So hey, man.
So you said you and your father went on adventures. Could you bring us back to one that you've been on that was a memorable one for us?
I give a I give an interesting one, a very good one, a very interesting one. So I was maybe about I want to say 11, 12. This is right around maybe a year after Wu Tang Forever dropped, but the album's still in rotation. So it's June that summer. We was coming back from Puerto Rican Day Parade. sitting on the boat. He runs into these two guys, like nice built white guys or whatever. They got on like these jumpers, and they got all this tribal shit like all over their body, mad different tribal shit. And like my father, although he was an adventurer, he liked to tip his elbow too much. So, but he knew how to engage in conversation with people. So he's sitting on the boat and he's talking to these guys, and it's the way that they're linking in with him with the conversation is amazing to me because these is like two guys that don't know nothing about anything from a hole in the wall. They don't know this dude from anywhere, but they're sitting there listening to him talk, and they're having conversation with him like, "Yo, I know this guy. I get this guy." So in some way in the conversation, my father goes just like this. So who did your tribals? They go, yeah, we did our own. We do our own tattoos, whatever the case may be. So he goes, yeah, for real, y'all do your tattoos? He's like, takes off his writing mark right here in the middle of my head. And these dudes are like, yeah, we can do that shit tonight. So if you ever pass by on Richmond Terrace, passing by the Brighton, next to that one stop store, there's that big ass house, right? I don't know if you're familiar, like going towards the ferry, it's a big ass house right before you hit New Brighton. They just redid it open, all that stuff. But
Okay.
we go there, and they giving him this tattoo on the top of his head, and no shit, he had a question mark at the top of his head, and everybody would always ask him, "What's the idea? What's the deal behind the question mark?" He said, "Because it's always good to be unknown. You never know
Mm,
the unknown." So we'd have weird moments like that.
that's freaking
you know,
awesome.
Man, my father was a character, definitely, definitely a character.
That's crazy. That's just cool. And so did that happen the same day?
All in the same day. Right after we got off, we went right to the house, and we were just chilling.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
I'm chilling. It's late at night. I don't have to go nowhere. I got school the next day, but hey, the later I'm out, the better it is for me.
That's so crazy. I can't say my dad has any tattoos, but I think that makes up for mine not having one because that's hilarious, bro.
Yo, that was his only tattoo. That's the crazy part. That was his only tattoo. Of all places, the middle of the top of your head. But okay, hey, that's I got it. I get it. He was just bugged out like that. Like real deep poetic thought guy, but he was out. You know what I'm saying? But he was a
That's amazing, bro. And here you are. Now you're a father. I can't imagine the stories your little
right.
one's gonna tell.
Oh man, whatever he says, however the story goes, I just hope that I'm in good light in his eyes.
That's real, man. So you've had quite a year. Um,
Mm.
for anyone who doesn't know, my guy's been rapping how many decades, bro? You've been
Oh,
says I see
shit.
25, right? That's crazy.
Yeah, just about. I started writing. I want to say like the late '90s, like '97, '98. I didn't really start doing anything with music, like pursuing it, till about like 2009, 2010. It's been a minute.
It's showing, man, because you've had an amazing year.
Yeah, I would say I had a nice run.
Yeah.
You know,
So recently you just dropped Harbor Kids, which is just going off everywhere.
yeah, with my brother Jamil.
Maybe you could
Yeah,
kind of maybe walk us
yeah,
through kind of that
yeah,
project,
man.
how it kind of came to be.
Shout out Jamel Honesty. Came out pretty decent.
Yeah, had it. So maybe break us
But I
down.
don't know.
What was it?
Is there a delay on the mic?
There
Is there a
is.
delay on the mic?
Yeah.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Just making sure.
So
All right, so the
how did that even,
process,
yeah, yeah, sorry.
um, all right, my bad, my bad. Pretty much, we've been doing music together since I say about like 2017, 2018. We've known each other for years. I've known him since like the late 80s when I was like 3, 4 years old. He was my upstairs neighbor. You know, we was cool as kids. We always hung out type shit. He wound up moving to Baltimore, but you know, we would still ask about each other and try to get somewhere to act. Um, long story short, we linked up 2011 all over again. Started, just doing the back and forth, building relationship, just chilling. We put some music together in 2017, and I say around the pandemic, somebody had threw the suggestion out there that we should do an album together. There's another platform called Southern Vanguard. They're big in Atlanta as far as like underground hip hop. So when they threw the idea out there, I told the brother, "Yo, what's up? You with it?" He was like, "Yeah, with you, without a shadow of a doubt." And we started working on it like in the pandemic, and we really sat down, put time into it, really crafted it out, and molded it the way we wanted it to put together. And not for nothing, we dropped it June, and the response has been good. A lot of people's been on the wave of it. Uh, Shout out to Fat Beats for backing the project, putting a little stamp of approval on it, and the like I said, the response has been dope, phenomenal, and I'm just appreciative of being a part of something great. You know what I'm saying? So I keep at this shit just to keep at this
Yeah, hip hop is just a game changer for, I know for me,
shit.
just it's changed my life. So maybe just kind of break down or tell me a little bit about like the impact it's had on you because you said you started writing you, probably when you almost double digits or just starting to be double digits as a kid and
Yeah,
you
definitely.
haven't stopped to now having your own kid, so you've literally it's going through generations of you doing
Mm.
this. Um, how important has it been for you? Just having to being able to write and create and express yourself.
Would say it's the drive. With me, it's more so the idea of knowing that at one point somebody would tell you that you couldn't do it, that shit wasn't possible. All right, you may not do it to the length of where you want to be or where you vision yourself to be, but you make your space to put you there at least. You know what I'm saying? I will say this shit has given me so much good and bad, but the overall is it keeps me sane. It's my sanity. It's deeper than just writing bars now because then it was writing for entertainment purpose. You at that age and at that time you wanted to do it for all the wrong. You know what I'm saying? Once you find and then you experience certain things in life and deal with certain shit. It's like I always compare rap shit, my rap shit, hip hop, and like the symbiote situation with Venom and them. You know what I'm saying? It's an attachment. Even if I want to break this shit, like not for nothing, I haven't really wrote nothing. I say like the past 2, 3 months. Before that, I wasn't really writing nothing for almost a year because I was caught up with the baby, dealing with all that stuff. But even within that year, I had an itch, and it was bothering me. I couldn't get the itch off. That's how bad it is with this shit. Like the creativity with it is, yo, I just want to get my shit out and say what I want to say. But the deep mental behind it is, as I grew older, I realized I'm not just doing this shit for me now. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing it for him to see, yo, not for nothing. Even if it didn't go the way I wanted it to go, I took the chance to make it happen. I put myself in different situations where I got opportunities given to me where it worked out in my favor or it didn't work out in my favor, but I had experience. So not even just him. Maybe I have a little cousin that's sitting back that's been watching my progress and do what he wants to do, and he's taking that chance to do it. Why I can't do it? You know what I'm saying? And he's proving to me right in my face, yo, he's doing it. That's always been my shit. I don't give a fuck what level of anything with this shit. I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? And the catalog, the stature, the accolades is there to prove. I don't have to brag about the shit. You can just look it up and find it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what my whole shit is. Now it's deep in just writing rhymes and putting bars together. It's more about that one right there took the chance. And if you take the chance and you have the balls to do it, you might go further than where I went. But the fact of the matter is, you took the chance. At least you said, damn the fact of I tried. You could just say, yeah, I did it. And if it don't work for you, it don't work for you. But you did it, you know?
I That's what it's all about, I feel. And I love it. It's just
Yeah.
you know y- you have this calling, you have this itch, you have this urge, you feel it and you go with it. And I encourage anyone,
Mm-hmm.
as you have something that matters, it doesn't have to be
Do that shit.
it doesn't have to be your job. It doesn't have to be the way you bring home food for your family. It's the thing that's
Right.
beyond all that.
It's right. It's a satisfaction for you, and it's also a life lesson to somebody else, you know?
It's real. It's real. And you've just been going in, man. You've been punching the bag, punching
Yeah,
the
man.
clock, and just consistently dropping projects. And
Yeah, I'm grateful.
that's what life's about. It's like you want to look back and be like, "Yo, I did whatever was on my mind at the time."
Right.
And I
I
re-
didn't stop. I didn't quit my shit.
yeah,
You know?
the things we create, I feel like are time capsules as we live this life, and
Mm,
we could kind of remember as creatives, artists, just people, whatever we're making, right? And it could be a guy building homes, right? Like builds one
right,
home and then they move to California and then they build the other home. It's not just for someone who's an artist, but like as someone who's a creative. Like
right.
I could
That's the
remember
deeper picture of it.
I could remember the moment when we threw this party. I could remember the moment when I dropped my first CD like 14
Mm,
years ago and the ups and downs. And it's
right,
just, you look back and you're like, yo, I'm happy I went with it. And
right,
really, the only regrets I have are most of the time not doing a thing. Or I'm like, all right, I got to act on this because I don't want to. Or like, oh, I should have done this. But like,
right.
I don't
But
look
you
back
can't
to,
live off shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know?
yeah, I don't look back and be like, oh, why did I do that? It's more or less, I should have did that shit sooner if I could have, or I should have,
Right. Or I should have did that shit different, but it is what it is, you know?
yeah,
Everything is a moment in, like you said, it's a time capsule. It's a moment in time. I follow the law of divine intervention. What's meant to be, it will be, and anything and everything happens for a reason and set purpose. You may not know the full purpose, but it's there,
yeah.
you know? So that's just what it is.
So yeah, man, there's just so much going on with hip hop, right? Of course, it's almost two different schools. It's like old school and new
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's constantly this tug of war with just someone from a new school saying something, and then it's like, why'd they say this? And then there's always this stir up,
Yeah.
or
A
someone
bunch
gets
of
hurt, or someone doesn't get out of the club when they were supposed to come back that night. There's just so much
right.
crazy stuff we see, and
Yeah, it's
you
a weird game.
Yeah. So you grew up in a time where, as you said, you started writing around 98. Wu just dropped Wu Tang Forever, like not too long after that.
Right,
Of course, the soundscape has changed quite a bit. Of course, there are artists that still have that soundscape as well that have kept it going.
right.
But there's all these new sounds and subgenres of it. What's your take on just everything going on right now? Is it's like there's so much going on, but what's your take on like the new school of music?
I don't knock it. It's just some of it is a little, it's a little extra. But then I can't be the one to judge because I mean, we had some outrageous shit we was listening to back in our day too. So it is what it is. It's like a 360 cipher. It's a circle making its rotation, but it's just a whole different delivery of how you approach it. You know, I think as far as the underground is concerned, the underground is still, that vibe, that sound that you want. It's just you have to in that and be a connoisseur of that to really appreciate it. If you don't appreciate that art and skill, then you're not gonna like it. It's the same thing with the young guy shit. If
Yeah,
you're not appreciative to their style and what they do, of course you're not gonna like it. I mean, everything's not my cup of tea, but it's not to say that it's not a dope song.
yeah,
You know, there's a lot of dope songs that I hear that, yo, not for nothing. The artist might not be my cup of tea. A lot of their other songs might not be my cup of tea, but that one right there, it caught my attention. I can rock with it. I can fuck with it. It's cool. I don't want to be that old guy like, oh nah, fuck that, it's just whack. No, 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 I don't want to be that guy because I've always been, yo, it's all about being cool. So I don't have to fully engage in it to really prove my love for it, but it's not in a space where it's like it's terribly bad. It's just more the nonsense gets filtered before the actual good shit. You got to look at the 50-50 of it now.
of course. Yeah, and there's so many options. You could just go. You could
Exactly.
get what you want. It's like imagine having a buffet, and there's just anything you want when you want
Right.
it.
Right. Yo, nerdcore is a thing. I know nerdcore hip hop was a thing. It took me at 38 years old to know that that was really a thing. But there's people that indulge in that shit. The trap and the drill. The kids kind of like that. There's, the anime rap now. I think rap should be like how rock and roll is. Like rock and roll has different subgenres. Like they got
Totally.
heavy metal, they got the emo music, they got alternative, they got old school rock, they new age rock. I think it should just be like that. New age hip hop, underground hip hop, old school
Hmm.
hip hop, emo hip hop. So this way we're not just shitting on it as a whole, because
Yeah,
that's what winds up happening. And then it's also in the action. A lot of older artists can't connect with the younger artists. So it's not always perceived as, yo, that's a young black man doing something different, or whatever the race of that artist. That's a young man doing what they doing, making some of themselves. Some people see it as competition. So now if I see you as competition, I'm not gonna respect your shit. Get out of here, little nigga. You don't know what to talk about. So then it becomes a whole issue of, oh, it's disrespect. He don't like us, then fuck that, because we don't like that old school shit neither. Nah, it's just you just had a bad interaction with one asshole. You know?
yeah. No, there's just so much going on, and I have my preferences of what I enjoy more. But
Mm-hmm.
I always try to keep an open ear. Sometimes you like a certain thing, that thing just keeps coming back around to you. The algorithms, certain things, the playlists, they feed
Right,
you
right,
what you like. But when I meet a young person and they're like, "Yo, gotta check out Pop Smoke or NBA YoungBoy or whoever," and I'm just like, what track? Put me on."
right.
Cause
And
sometimes
play me something good too.
yeah, like I'm just like shopping over here all the time, and I don't even know where that other neighborhood is to listen to what, it's like I'm so used to being in my neighborhood of what I'm listening to. I
Right.
almost don't sometimes leave. But then I like it. But then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like to understand what's going on because some of these guys have huge movements. They're not on the radio.
Right.
They're not
And they
on.
do like there's some guys that are out there like really saying it. It's just not in the style of how we used to hearing it.
Yeah,
That's what it really is.
yeah. And when we started listening to music, there weren't multi generations. It was just that first
Right.
generation of rappers in there. So
Hmm.
imagine now, like you imagine what your son is going to be listening to, right, in like 10 years, and then you're here loving what you love because you grew up with what you loved.
Right.
But it's like I feel like there could be this learning experience from both sides, but sometimes
Oh
this,
no, it definitely is.
yeah,
It's all I'll say this because my nephew, he's in his teenage years, and he's getting to that where he's inquisitive to know about that era that we grew up in, how life was, the music, and all that other shit. And he's indulgent, so that gap bridges because he'll put me on to something new, whether I like it or not. I always, get the interaction with him because it builds a bonding time between me and him. Not only that, it also gives me a chance to go, yo, I could get that, but yo, check this out because this is this and give you the proper education on it. And yeah, to have that to actually have that gap with a younger individual is pretty dope because you see both sides of the spectrum, and then you give them something that they never heard about. Like he's fascinated with Warren G and Nate Dogg and fucking Easy E. I'm like, bro, you don't know none of these people. You like you can't get jiggy with none of that. Nah, but yeah, this song and then this song and then this song. And now, due to the fact that we bridging the gap, now we have conversation about Earl Sweatshirt. And I can have a conversation about Future and get a better understanding of what Future's doing, and have conversations about Kendrick Lamar and fucking the NBA young boy guy and
yeah,
G Herbo and all these other dudes. It's crazy. The youth are in tune, man. Stay with the youth. It may not sound good to you, but stay with them because they in tune. They saying something. They just don't know how to give it the way we like.
yeah. I only have an issue when I go to a high school, and there was one
Hmm.
time where we were talking about favorite rappers from New York. This was pretty interesting. So I'm like, yep. So this guy always had his headphones on during class. So of course,
Okay.
I want to know what you're listening to. If you're not listening to us, who are there to teach you, who put us
Right.
on, right? What's so good about what's going on right now? So I'm like, all right, who's your favorite rapper from New York? And he's like A Boogie. I
Okay.
said, all
Hey,
right.
Boogie with the hoodie.
I said, yo, he gets on a lot of tracks.
Right.
I like some of the records. And then I'm like, do you know who Jadakiss is? And he's like, oh yeah, isn't that the shirts that they have at Hot Topic that say Kiss on them? I was like, I said, bro, I said, I'm gonna be nice to you right now. I'm gonna let this slide. I said, no.
Damn. Hell
This is
no.
the same student that rocked the Boys in the Hood shirt but didn't watch Boys in the Hood.
Oh no. See, yeah, I can't get jiggy with that.
So
I
that's where the older generation has to step in and be like, come on, like there's a
yeah.
little bit of it.
Teach your youth.
I felt the gap there. He was like, I was like, oh man. I was like,
Yo, no,
I
bro,
said no,
no.
that's Kiss. I said that's like
That's
a
a
rock.
rock band.
Yeah, that's a rock
Yeah.
band. said if you don't know Jadakiss, I said you're missing out, man. But
Right.
he was hard. He was a tough shell to crack, man. But
They
question,
always are.
yeah. But that was funny.
Yeah, man. Kids, they're amazing, but they're stubborn at the same damn time.
Yeah, it's like the way algorithms are. It's like once you start, just say you just start listening to A Boogie with a Hoodie
Hmm.
on Spotify, for it to circle and find you Jadakiss
Right.
is going to be very tricky for
Yeah,
the
unless you
algor.
already have them in this playlist.
Yeah, or they do a song together, which almost they're two different
Right.
brands of New York rap. It's like new school New
Not for
York,
nothing though.
but I feel like they could
If
do a record.
Jada put him on a hook, that would be dope.
I think it would definitely work, bro. A Boogie kind of, I'm not saying he has the fabulous vibe, but he's kind of like the new age Fab, where he's just on every
Yeah.
record. He's getting the pop records. Um,
Yeah, he's very eclectic with his vibe.
yeah, yeah. But I had to school him. That was, I'll always remember that. But but yeah, man, this just hip hop is just changing lives. It's changed both of ours.
Yeah, definitely. As long as it continues to change lives, at least for the better, then the purpose of what the culture is for is still surviving, regardless of what anybody says.
50 years, man. Next year,
Mhm.
we got to go to the museum.
Shit, that would be awesome.
You know about it?
I've heard about it. I've
It,
heard talks about it.
it's
So,
opening, I think, next year. I think the 50th is. I feel like we need a Staten
okay.
Island
I mean,
hip
that's
hop
dope
museum.
because not for nothing though. If you go into the library down here by the ferry,
Hmm.
they have like a little area where they have like all like not all Staten Island artists, but like most of the ones that actually made something and made a success of themselves. They have like this wall in this corner of all that shit. Like they got the Wu Tang shit. They had Eamon up there. They had some Christina Aguilera up there. I think they had Mac Wiles at the time when I was there. I don't know if they
Oh, nice.
updated from then and now, but it was a nice little setup they had. There's a little dedication to Staten Island.
And that was the Stapleton Library?
No, no, no. The St. George.
St. George. St. George.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
So we've talked a lot about you growing up. We talked about what's going on. You're just
Uh,
you're making it all happen. You're managing your dreams.
yes,
You're molding the dreams of the future.
that's it. Manifest the destiny. Make the idea.
So what about something in what do you think about maybe where do you see things going in the next few years for you?
I mean, it's all depending on how far I can run, you know, because I've come to a realization as becoming an elder, certain things at certain points in time, you got to give a break to it. And it's not that I wouldn't want to still create music because I've learned how, in the process of making music, I've learned how to mix, engineer, do all that other shit. So I wouldn't lose the passion of making music, but now I would try to focus my energy on something different.
Yeah.
As long as I can make the run as far as with the underground thing and still keep a consistency and still build on, I'll do what I got to do. But I'm definitely looking into thinking about something different. You know,
Yeah.
tap
It's
into a different venture. Like,
I agree. I think about this a lot lately. I've been thinking about it. It's just like I think about the things that I've invested time in
hmm
for over a decade, and then I've seen the results a decade later. Definitely not in the moment, right? But it's like the decisions we're
right,
gonna make now when we're hitting new decades in our lives,
Uh-huh.
the seeds that we're gonna plant, we're gonna see them in 10 years.
Right.
And it's like how we treating them now. Are we semi watering them? Are we, as you know, as you said, new frontiers?
Right.
It's like kind of making these new choices. It's like for me, I'm like, I want to learn about homes. I want to learn
Yeah.
about taking care of a home, the pipes, the outdoors, the roof, just
Yeah.
being aware of these things.
Yeah.
So when I'm in,
Right. Learning a whole new different energy.
yeah, so in 10 years when I look back and I'm like, yo, I got a spot here, I got a spot there. I was able to help someone with a spot there. I'm going
Right.
to get a spot there. So it's like it's same thing. I'm like cuz you kind of in a way you get bored. You're like, "All right, well
Yeah.
I could kind of do this in my sleep. Like I could do that with design now, where
Right. Right. Right.
I don't have to force it. I know how to tap into these like little magical parts of me that
And
I've
it just
kind of
happened.
that I've harnessed for a long time, and I've learned how to tap into them, that I could do
Yeah.
it pretty okay often.
I mean, I wouldn't say okay. It's all depending on how excellent you view it,
Of
man.
course,
If
of course.
you know that you're doing something spectacular, you always give it that on for being spectacular. Shit.
Yeah, yeah, I guess I was being humble, but I was like, I could tap into those design vibes very easily. And I'm like, all right, boom,
Mhm.
50 new designs, 100 new designs, 300 new designs.
There you go.
And then I know how to tap into the formulas and then turn it into hundreds more.
Right, right.
So I was like,
Now you need a new outlet to figure it out.
yeah. So I've been doing stuff lately, man. The last few years, I've started businesses that I've told no one about, and it's actually changed my life. I've used things that I've
Mm.
learned in one world,
See, now that's dope though.
and I've helped either myself start another one or someone else start another one without
Oh,
the
see,
brand or association by choice. Just being like, all right, yo, I'm going to do this, and people could judge it regardless if they know I did it or not. And I'm not going to
right,
promote it. I'm going to remove ego from it. So it's not going to be like, oh, well, I posted it, no one liked it. Because that even, sometimes that messes with us. So I've started two new businesses in the last few years
okay.
from everything I've learned, and it's been amazing to not feel judgment, to not feel ego when I don't even have social media for these businesses. It's crazy.
Well, see, that's good too.
Yeah. So yeah, I highly encourage it, man, for just, tapping into something, even if it's finding the thing that you're an absolute soldier at and then
Right.
just helping someone else become a soldier.
Yeah, definitely.
Because once you create another soldier, boom,
It just builds the army, man.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah,
Yeah,
just
definitely.
this next decade, man, is going to be special. And regardless of how many walls we run into, we're going to learn a bunch of stuff that won't, we do this again in a little bit. We'll be like, oh man, remember that? Yeah, man, just making
Hell
stuff.
yeah, man. And then it's all teaching somebody else to duck where you bump your head.
That's real. My friend posted this today recently, and he posted it today, and he was like, "What would you have told your 12-year-old self?"
Shit's gonna get crazy, but everything's gonna be all right.
I love it.
That's it.
I love it. What did I put? Of course, you know me. I wrote a blog, like a whole blog of my answer, but hold on, let me pull it up. I was just like, let me find this real quick. But it's interesting because you can't do that, right? But we could do that for the young homie we
I mean,
meet.
you may not
Our
be able to
our
do that for you. There's another 12-year-old out there. Like, I tell
exactly.
my nephew all the time, like, shit doesn't get easier. You just gotta learn how to understand and make it work for you so you can live good. You know. So,
Yeah, bro. Have fun.
all right.
Keep
Worry
your
about everything else later.
yeah, you're 12, right? So I'm not gonna put high pressure on 12-year-old me. And then I was like, keep your family close. And then I also said, find people to talk to, and then talk to them.
Mm,
You don't need to figure everything out on your own. And then I said, pray.
right.
I said, don't keep everything inside, and learn from every experience.
Right. Real shit.
I can't give no spoilers, but it's like, yo, learn,
That's it. It
have
don't get no
fun.
easier, man. Just yeah, have fun and live, and be aware of a lot of shit that's going on around you too.
Yeah, and I look back and I'm like, damn, I think I kept a lot inside. I didn't even realize it. I didn't,
Mm.
and it's just like, oh, sometimes I would just
Nah,
keep
as adults
facing,
we realize it.
yeah, and I kind of kept facing the same issue, kind of as a young one, and
Mm.
it was like, damn, I wish I just talked to someone. They were like, yo, man, like it's okay, like try this or think of it, but that's part of life. You're just learning, and as you said, you could never do it for yourself. You can't go back in time, but you could help the next generation. You could help the next young homie.
Exactly. Exactly.
So the future is bright, man. I'm excited to see what you do. Harbor Kids is just doing its thing.
Yes, yes,
25 years in the game.
man. Yo, that sounds crazy when you say it.
We got to do a 30 for 30 for you, bro, in a few years. ESPN, bro.
Yo, it's whatever, man. I got enough records. I got enough records in the cut. We could talk about all that shit. I got enough stories, man. Shit. I'd make a good documentary on some real shit.
That's the real man. Nah, man. You're one of the most respected MCs in our community. You put on for the culture.
It's much appreciated, man.
You
I haven't realized. I still haven't realized that yet around certain people around the area. So, that shit just be crazy. Just in general to make an impact on somebody still ain't set it in my brain. So,
I think that's something you tapped into earlier. It was just like I just want to do it so someone else could see and be like, you know what?
right.
I could go do whatever that thing is I want to do. Because he went
Hell
out and did it, and
yeah.
he was fearless.
Right. Real shit, man.
Just living your truth, bro. And it's just great to see.
That's it. That's all you can do in this life.
Yeah. No, it's real when you find it, and it's like, okay, repeat, repeat, repeat. Find your
Right.
truth, speak it, repeat. And just,
Right. And live by that shit too.
yeah. So, yeah, man, bro. Just so dope to kind of hear your stories growing up as a young one and then now having a young one.
Hmm.
A lot of stuff in between. I'm really kind of tapping into the mind behind all these rhymes that I've been listening to for a long time.
Sure did. Psycho realm.
So that's real, my brother. So for anyone that wants to check you, find all the tapes and the tunes and follow you on the journey, what's
um,
the best way to catch you?
I'm on everything. Squeegie O, Squeegie Oblong, Squeegie. It could be the O or Oblong, Oblong. Um, it's I can't even go. Yeah, you can just find me directly here. I'm all over the place. IG, Twitter. I'm on Facebook, but I'm not on Facebook musically. I'm more so on Facebook personally.
Nice.
But yeah,
I might drop all the
As
links.
far as like music shit, yeah, man, definitely drop all that shit, drop all that shit.
That's real, man. So, yeah, make sure to connect with my guy. He's just been putting on for the hip hop culture and community, the island, the harbor,
Yes, yes.
and he
So,
continues, and he's
uh,
continuing.
consistency, and I have yet to say that I'm from any other borough other than Staten Island. Believe it.
It's a good place, man. And
We get a bad rep, but it's a decent town, man.
you know what? People could keep talking that because then people won't just be flocking over here. So if they want to believe whatever they want to believe about it, all right.
Right.
If you don't
Because
want
then
to,
it saves a whole
get
lot of
lost.
traffic on the road. Fuck
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shit.
Please save us the traffic. Victory's already a little packed. Believe what you
Hmm.
want. Um, but yeah, man. So, bro, you're always welcome back.
Yo, I appreciate it. Anytime's a good time, and you already know I return the favor. I mean, yo, and before we get off, this is just me personal from the heart. I do kind of want to apologize to Mama Noodles because of the Dream Camp when I was on performing, and like I was in the middle of one song and I was just getting into it, and I just seen the look in her eyes like, holy shit, what the fuck did I step into? So I was send this a
Oh
serious
no,
apology if I blew her mind with whatever I said at the moment. I think I was in the middle
it's all good.
of the purge or some shit like that. Yo,
I'll let her know, but nah, she
bro.
no judgment, man. We've been to Eminem concerts, and it's
Shit.
all good.
Yo, nah,
That's cool. You were
cause
aware
I
of all
just
that.
seen the look at her face, and she was like, "Oh," like the look was like, "Oh shit!" Like I kind of took back. That I was like, "Oh shit!" So after I got off, I was like, "Damn, man, I hope I ain't bugged the lady out," or like yo, definitely, man.
she she's an avid listener, so she'll probably even hear it before I even tell her you said this. But no
Okay,
doubt, man.
all right,
I appreciate you
wait, wait,
being,
wait.
and that's cool. You're even aware of people
Yo,
in the audience.
you
Yeah,
gotta be aware of that sometimes, man, because it's like you're sitting up there, you trying to entertain people, so you want to make sure you keep draw of who's there, who's rocking. And like when you see like certain things, it's like, all right, I gotta switch up and do something. At that moment in time, with that situation, it was just like, yeah, I just gotta finish this.
that's all good. That was a great. Yeah,
Yo.
that was a lovely
Nah, that was
evening.
a dope show, man. That was a fucking awesome event, man. Shout out to everybody involved, yo. That was
That was a
definitely
special
one of
one.
the peaceful nights in Staten Island. That was pretty good.
Yeah, man, I appreciate
Man.
you being part, and that was a special day across the board. So many
Shit, man.
people.
Likewise, I thank you for the invite.
Of course. Definitely not the last. I made a vow to myself that I would have to do one thing before I do my next thing.
Hmm.
But once you see the events happen, and then you'll know that thing is a thing. So I know I'm being mad
And it's
subliminal.
on and popping.
Yeah, it won't be our last though.
Okay.
So you heard the story here first. You know, my guy, he's just committed to his craft. He lives it. He lives his truth, and
Fact.
he knows he could build a better future by creating it, by being there for the younger generation,
True indeed.
and being an example of someone that that knew what their thing was and made it their thing and just kept going.
Right.
And a lot of people could make an excuse. Oh, I came here, I didn't have this. I can't get this. My guy
Nah,
said the
man.
opposite. He said, "No, I'm gonna go get this because I've been through it. I've
Yeah.
been through it."
Yeah, because excuses is just emptyless words of reasons that you don't want to do shit.
Yeah, brother, you're always welcome back. I can't wait to see what you do next. Make sure to go stream the new record, Harbor Kid.
That's stream that. Stream everything, man, or everything, even the old school shit. Maybe with the old school, like get into the old school catalog as well, and indulge in everything, man. I'm appreciative to have this conversation with you, good brother.
Of
It's
course, man.
definitely something in the making,
Yeah,
you know.
for sure, man. You're always welcome back. Shout out to your whole fam. I hope you all have a lovely holiday.
Shit, likewise to you and yours, man. Shit.
Thank you, yo. And everyone listening, you heard it from my guy, yo. He's living proof. No matter you come up through tough times, even if you maybe feel a little alone, but you learn to
Do what
scuffle,
you
you
gotta
learn
do.
do what you got to do.
It's all about survival. Do what you gotta do. Can't nobody survive in this life and live through you but you. You know, live by your shit, hold down your shit, and don't let nobody tell you how to do your shit. People can give you advice, but that's just it, advice. Somebody can advise you to do something, but at the end of the day, it's on your gut of what you want to do. And if that's what the fuck you feel like doing, as long as you ain't hurting nobody, and you're doing something to benefit not just you, other people around you, do it. Fuck it. Well,
Yes,
what's the loss? What's the loss? A loss is just a badge on your stripe that you can take with you as a lesson. You know, keep going and don't stop until you finally hit the point where you're like, yo, I reached what I've done. I did this shit.
real talk. Thank you again, my brother.
Yo, thank you, good brother. You already know. Anytime's a good time.